Hey, everybody. My name is Beverly Walker, and I am the Director of the Fire and Emergency Services Administration degree programs at East Georgia State College. We call it FESA for short because that's an awful lot to say in one sentence. I want to welcome each of you to spring 2018 semester here at East Georgia State College. Yes, I have on my coat. It sounded funny saying spring. We're in the middle of the Arctic blast, I think they're calling it, and so I'm looking forward to spring. Some of you, this may be your first semester, and so I wanted to go over some things. Some of you may need some reminders about things as you continue your journey, whether you are in the bachelor's degree program or the associate's degree program. This information applies. Instead of doing, I try to do videos that are course specific as an introduction. This just kind of is a general introduction to the courses and how they are laid out. I just kind of wanted to cover some things with you as well. One of the first things that I want to say is you have to check your school email regularly. I'm going to say daily, please. Because you get email from me, while I might have your personal email or your work email, and most of the time I can hit a button and it takes the whole class and sends it to their school email. So I don't know if there's a way, there may be a way that you can forward that email to another email address, but however you do it, I need you to check that email regularly. I need you to be in contact with me. And when I ask a question in the email, I need you to answer. And a lot of that has to do with accountability for attendance. I need you to log into the course site regularly. Again, goes back to attendance. In the courses, I try to keep the class together as a group. You know, if you think about if you were taking classes on campus or in a face-to-face format, you're all kind of be doing the same thing. You're going to be talking about the same thing in the classroom. And so that's what I try to do in that electronic format. So things open and close. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is keep up with your work. I understand, believe me, I understand. I understand shift work. I understand emergency services. I have 25 years with a fire department, so I get it. And things come up, and I also understand that life comes up. And that many of you, work that second job and you have kids, you're trying to balance all of that. And so I'm not as tight on some of due dates as perhaps some other instructors might be, but I still need you to keep up with that work. If you get too far behind, you can't you can't do your best work, first of all, when you're crunched for time. And you certainly can't learn everything in a semester in 15 weeks in 1 week if you get that far behind. So keep up with your work. And at some point when you get really behind, there will be penalties for that late work. But remember that turning in something is better than a zero. So remember that. Your quizzes are timed quizzes. And while I know that little clock at the corner is annoying and obnoxious, I do that for a couple of reasons. I don't count off if you submit your quiz late, so don't freak out about that. If you're a few minutes late, I understand. If you're 24 hours late, no, that's not going to really cut it. The whole idea is to provide that balance between allowing you time to think, especially if there's discussion questions that I'm asking you to complete during that time. I try to allow for a longer time, but I don't, you've got to stay within that basic framework in order for it not to count off. I would encourage you, when we're talking about that kind of thing, is to treat it like a class. Set aside time each week, maybe an hour every other day, depending on how many classes you're taking, set aside that time. Many times folks try to use their phone for this, and I don't think that that is the best way to do this. A laptop, a desktop computer, you need a computer in order to complete the classes. And I would encourage you to have uninterrupted time. I know a lot of times that, at work is a good time to do this. For those of you that may be with fire and EMS, it may seem like a good time to do this, but I would not recommend that. Like you take tests and quizzes and that kind of thing at work, set aside some time to really focus on it. I can tell, it's kind of interesting, I can tell when people have devoted that time to their work and then maybe the next assignment, they did it in a rushed fashion. I can tell. It reflects in the quality of the work. So set aside that time. Make a schedule how you're going to do that so that you meet your deadlines. In your courses, the due dates for things should be marked in the calendar. So look at that calendar for each course and maybe figure out a way to merge those for all your courses so that you don't get caught with some of the due dates running up on you. Let's see. Discussion board. Discussion. The discussion board is one of the hardest things to try to make interactive. And that is my goal, is to do that, is to make them interactive. I want you to discuss. I need you, that replaces that face-to-face classroom discussion piece. And I need you to do that. So discussions are very important. I encourage you to look at them often and comment. The course requires that you have to make an initial posting and then comment on 2 of your others, and they need to be comments with quality, not simply, yeah, that sounds good. So feel free to bring in other, your personal experiences. I try to make the discussion questions open enough so that you can comment about your own personal experiences or your own, things that you've read or learned along the way. Share that with the class. I encourage you to do that. So the discussion is graded, and so it's going to be a big part of that. Let's see. I'm looking at some notes over here. Email, again, I don't care if you use, there's an email within D2L, the Learning Management System Designed to Learn. You can use that email to email me. You can use my school email to email me. I get them both. And so it doesn't really matter. I try to be pretty prompt about responding to emails. If I am out of town, it should let you know that. I'll set up my out of office reply, and I'll also try to let you know that earlier as well. Let's see. Make sure that in your email, if you email me outside of D2L, that you put what course in the reference line. I get emails from people and they'll say something, I can't open chapter 2. Well, you've got 5 classes, so help me out here. So make sure that you put that information in the reference line with that email. Let's see what else you need to talk about. Again, attendance is very important. I'm trying to see here. I know that there's other courses that you're taking outside of the FISA program because they are core courses. They're required by the university system. And some of you may say, I don't need to take health, or I don't need to take fitness walking. And I might argue with you about fitness walking, and I'm going to argue with you about health. I think that even if you are a seasoned veteran, that you have something to add to that course. Don't always look at it as you're there to learn. Look at it as what you have to offer to that class and your life experiences. So I know that it's a pain to kind of go through some of those things. In the spirit of trying to make the courses interactive, we contract with or have a contract with an application called VoiceThread. You're going to be getting an email in some of the classes, and you may get more than one email. So you need to make sure you look at that. It'll come to your school, ega.edu email, inviting you to participate in the VoiceThread. And this is a different type of discussion. You can type, you can record video, which I encourage people to do. You can text. I think you can actually call and give a voice message. So it's not synchronous, meaning we don't do it all at the same time, but it allows you to, it just allows for more interaction. I've had some positive feedback from students about it. So in some of your courses, you may see that, and I'm really trying hard this semester to use that more. The other thing that in each of the classes, we're required to have what is called a proctored experience. And that doesn't necessarily mean a proctored exam. In some courses, I may require. I've started doing that with the associate program, that I'm requiring a proctored exam. And there will be more information about that on the course site when it comes to time, because it'll be your final exam. It doesn't have to be throughout the semester. However, there will be other opportunities. We are using a format called Zoom. Some of you may be familiar with that. It's a web conferencing, and it works really well. And again, I've gotten some great feedback from previous classes. I'm going to try to set some of those up in each of the classes. Whether we, in one class, I substituted it for a discussion question. If people were able to attend, they didn't have to do the discussion online. In another class, I sent out an article, and we discussed that article. In another class, they presented their end of semester projects as a part of that. So I'm going to try to set up, I'm being really ambitious, and I want to try to set up like 3 of them in each class. And that way, hopefully, I'll ask you to RSVP if only one person's available. We may not do it, but I'm going to try to make them shift friendly too, meaning, I'm going to try to look at the ABC days and try to make sure it's not all on A shift or B shift or C shift days. But I would encourage, those are fun. Like I say, I've gotten great feedback. They've been very interactive, and it's very good. You can do it from a desktop as long as you have a camera. You can do it from a laptop. You can do it from your phone. You can actually call in, and so you don't have to have that camera. So if you're like on the road or something, driving, you can do it that way. But I'll put more about that on the course site, but just know that we have to have one of these in each course. And so how we do that is maybe a little bit up to you. And so, but if we get to the end of the semester and you've not had one of those, it will require that your final exam be proctored, which is not that big of a deal. It didn't seem to be last semester anyway. If you're local, you can come here and I'll be glad to do it. You can go to your local library and have it done. Or I've also been allowed to use individuals that are exam proctors through Georgia Firefighter Standards and Training, or instructors through POST to be able to do that as well. So we'll talk about all that later. Don't forget about that. But I just want to let you know that ahead of time. I'm going to try to get those dates out next week. I hope. That's my goal. My courses are set up pretty much the same way. If you click on the content tab across the top, everything comes up on the side, and it should be pretty simple for you. I would encourage you once, and some of the content may be closed because, as I say, I'm trying to pace you through the semester. But you should see things. If you find something that doesn't work, I use a program called Captivate for a lot of the narrated PowerPoints. I don't think it's going to work well on your phone. Some people had trouble with it last year, and I'm in the process of republishing those in a different format. So, but the bottom line is, if you find something that doesn't work, I need you to let me know that. Sometimes, like last semester, there were test questions based on a reading, and some people said I couldn't find it. Well, let me know that ahead of time, and I will be glad to show you where it is. If you can't access it because the link is gone bad, please let me know that as well. I don't know these things unless you tell me. So it's very important that you have access to all of that. I continually look in courses for up-to-date material. So there may be things added. So if you're working way ahead, you need to go back. And I'll try to, there's a button I can click, I think, that lets you know I've added something. But a lot of times, there's so many buttons to click and unclick in this program that I forget or I miss one. And I need you to let me know. The bottom line is, I don't know if you don't tell me. So I'm thinking that is all that I want to say right now. I want you to know I'm really glad that you're here. Some of you are zooming through and getting close to the end. Some of you are just beginning, but I want you to know that the journey is well worth it. My whole purpose is to create better leaders, and I'm not doing it. I facilitate the creation of, maybe that's what I should say, to facilitate the creation of better leaders, better leadership within fire and emergency services. Leadership is a big thing with me, of having good leaders, good managers, good administrators, good mentors. And I believe that a lot of what you learn, it may not be, you may say, well, I already know all this, but it's the process that you're going through, just like counting off for grammar and spelling on your papers. It's about making a more professional profession out of what we do. And I think it's high time for that because we are professionals. We just need to make sure that everyone is able to tell that through our work and through what we do. So I'm here for you. I am glad you're here. I want you to enjoy this semester. Don't stress. Get your work done, but don't stress. If you run into speed bumps, let me know, and I'll be glad to work with you on those. I am here. I want to see everyone be successful. That is the bottom line. So welcome, and I look forward to a great semester. Thanks so much. Have a great day.